Everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Race number 8 at Gulfstream Park is the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, March the 22nd. We're going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf for 3-year-olds. It is a $35,000 starter allowance with a $35,000 claiming option. Before we take a look at this field, I want to remind everybody that Timeform US PPs, they're now in the DRF PPs. Try it for free. Go to DRF.com, access your PP package, and you'll see that tab for Timeform US, where you'll be able to access pace projectors, pace ratings, speed figures, and all the goodies that Timeform US has to offer. Give it a try. It's free on DRF.com. Here's the field now for our Wednesday race of the day, and you're going to want to scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on mobile with your free Formulator Pass performances. Mike, this is a wide open race. The number 5, Mr. Abarrio, is 7-2 on the morning line. This horse had a little bit of trouble last time out when beaten by the favorite.
Yeah, I thought this horse ran fine last time. Maybe could have won that race with a little bit of a better trip, but that's going to be one of the things that could be very important here, Dan. It's sort of a well-matched field. I don't really know who's going to be the favorite come post time. It could be the 5, but trips are going to be very important once again, and this horse doesn't have a lot of speed.
But maybe the pace will set up for him. As we see from our Timeform US pace projector, Timeform US believes with that red bar that this could be a fast pace. And the 5, Mr. Abarrio, his chiclet is near the back of the pack, maybe would benefit if the pace is fast. Cosmic Speculation, the number 2, he comes off a gate-to-wire win. People Force, the number 3, comes off a pace-tracking win. And the number 8, Huasteco, is another horse that was on the lead in his most recent start. So there's a chance this pace eats up.
It could. When I went through the race, I didn't really look at it that way, Dan, but it's certainly possible. I do think the 2 will probably show speed. The 8 is a horse who likes to be forward. I didn't really see, if it's fast anyway, I didn't really see the 3, People Force, being part of it.
Few maiden winners stepping up for the first time, including the number 1 Shankar going out for Safi Joseph and Tyler Gaffalione, 4-1 on the morning line off this victory against Florida-bred maiden specials in his turf debut. He got bumped around and was in tight in the first 16th of a mile, was bumped while 3 wide on the first turn. He made a very striking bid to the lead while 3 wide on the second turn. He's got a big lead here, and he's going to just hold off the closer.
Yeah, he's going to hold on. He's never really threatened. This horse is going to make a pretty strong late run, but it's way too late. He doesn't really threaten this horse. I just thought he ran pretty well there, Dan. He got a great trip in the race, but it was just another step in the right direction, and he looked a little more professional there to me as well. His prior 2 starts on the all-weather still looked a little green in those races. Much more professional last time. I thought he won pretty easy.
Now, he's going to have to do this off a 2-month layoff, but he certainly improved on the turf. He has improved with distance and moving to a synthetic surface, but turf put him over the edge, perhaps with Lasix. The 3rd finisher of that race came back to run 2nd in a Florida-bred maiden special with a 78 buyer. The 2 is Cosmic Speculation. Let's watch his win against Florida-bred maiden specials, going a 2-turn 7.5 furlongs on the turf. He's the horse on the lead wearing the cheek pieces. He got to the front, and he holds sway at 14-1.
Yeah, he got a great ride, I thought, in this race from Jose Ortiz, Dan. He just got control of this pace. He didn't have to go fast, and he had plenty left here through the stretch to kick on. You mentioned that he's going to defeat Victorious Chief. It's the same horse that Shankar had defeated prior. Also, Get Cozy was in that race. He sort of beat the same kind of horses that Shankar beat. I just personally thought he did it with all the best of it there, Dan. That pace was super slow early, and he took advantage.
And it could be a 180-degree different scenario if the Timeform US pace projector is correct. Cosmic Speculation up front with a faster pace. Ortiz back aboard, 6-1 on the morning line. The 3 is People Force, and while Shankar and Cosmic Speculation defeated Florida-bred maiden specials, People Force in this race beat Open Company, albeit while entered for a $50,000 tag. And I thought he looked pretty good in this race. He found a comfortable spot tracking the pace early. He made a bid on the turn to get to the lead, and he's very professional getting away from this group at the end.
I thought he was much the best in this race. He did get a really good trip. I like that he raced a little bit closer to the pace in here, though, Dan. He never really gave this field any kind of a chance through the stretch. I like that win. I thought he had run well in his prior 2 turf starts, a little bit further away from the pace in those races, but he still ran well and was gaining ground late in those races, sort of put it all together last time. And, I know the pace projector has him up there as part of this fast pace, Dan. To me, that's not his running style at all.
I don't think that's going to be the case if the pace is very fast. He seems adaptable, and he might be able to draft in if some others want the lead. Luca Panici takes them out. Lupe Prasado is a trainer that I have a lot of respect for. He prefers to race his horses with Lasix. People Force has improved incrementally with Lasix. Last time was second time Lasix. The 4 is Lucanasa, making his first start off the Terry Pompey claim of a victory against open maiden 35,000s, going a mile and a 16th on the turf. And we see this horse settling in mid-pack, coming with a good run. First-time blinkers, favored in this race, was supposed to get it done, and just does.
Yeah, he does get it done here. To me, this is a victory that's more game than anything else. His trip was good overall. It takes him a while, but he finally closes this horse down at the end and gets the job done. I wasn't really blown away by that performance, Dan. His turf debut 2 back, though, I guess he ran okay in that race, too. He just missed that day. Maybe he's just going to take another step forward here. I think he has to.
The number 5 is Mr. Abarrio, going out for trainer Carlos Perez. This horse had a little bit of trouble last time out on February the 23rd in a similar spot, going a mile. He was able to save ground late on the back stretch and into the stretch. But as you see here, this hole gets a little bit tight. I give him some credit for squeezing his way through. He's got to flop leads a couple of times, and by the time he gets truly clear, this favorite is gone. But he ran well.
Yeah, I like this performance. He's to me, he's run well in all 3 of his turf starts. Again, his running style can be problematic because he doesn't really have a lot of speed. But man, he ran really well last time. And that horse that he wound up finishing second to, I think that horse would be pretty tough back in a race like this one. Dan, that horse is okay. This horse he's going to be pretty tough in here. We'll see what kind of price he is.
It will be interesting. I was just going to say that because these are sort of low-profile connections, and maybe this horse will drift a little bit off the 7-2 with the Saffie Joseph down towards the inside and some others. The 6 is Triple Start, coming off a maiden win for trainer Kelly Breen in an open $25,000 seller. We'll watch that race back in late February, going a mile, and Triple Start showed good tactical speed in this race, sits on the outside, is going to grind it out, is going to get the win. This is a horse that was once trained by Todd Pletcher. It never really worked out. Breen put this horse in 2 good spots, and he has slowly improved.
Yeah, he finally gets the job done here. He has the clean run on the outside. You can see the horse that he winds up holding off there, who finished the second. Horse got in a little bit tight there through the stretch, Dan. That race could have been, even a lot closer, and maybe Triple Star wasn't even best in there. But he did get the job done. He has the right running style for this race. I just don't really love either of his 2 turf starts, or his last 2 turf starts.
The number 7 is the Cozen one, and this one finished just behind Mr. Abarrio last time. In his first start off the Claudio Gonzalez claim, he was up close to the pace in that race. I think they're going to revert to sort of the stalking tactics that resulted in his maiden $35,000 win 2 starts back.
I think they will too. It's nice to know that he's versatile like that, though, Dan. It gives his rider some options in this race. He ran okay last time. I didn't think he ran nearly as well as Mr. Abarrio did, but he still ran fine in that race. He was close to the pace. And it was an improvement in his first start off the claim for a really good trainer.
Returning from Tampa Bay Downs is the number 8, Huasteco, a horse that showed good speed last time out, went through a pretty quick opening quarter mile before getting a little bit of a breather on the backstretch and just failing to stay with that $32,000 starter allowance group at double-digit odds. Draws outside the other speeds in here. The pace is likely to be hot, slowly improving on the buyer scale, but probably needs another forward move.
Probably does. I just sort of feel like he's more of a speed type anyway, Dan. So I'm not so sure that if they elect to take him off the pace here, even if the pace is fast, I'm not so sure it's going to help this horse all that much. His last 2 races are fine. The last time they ran him here in a race like this one, that pace was pretty solid. I don't want to say it was blazing. It was pretty solid. The horse that won it was actually on the lead, though. And this horse was sort of up there with him. He just totally stopped through the stretch.
The number 9 is Max Swagger, another in here trained by Saffie Joseph. And this horse had a lot going for him in his second lifetime start. He moved from synthetic to turf. He was dropping from maiden special to the open maiden 35. He was getting Lasix and blinkers for the first time. And it all contributed to this victory by a half length coming from off of the pace. We're going to see Max Swagger. And he took advantage of a pretty quick opening quarter mile, I thought, of 23-1. That might have tired out the pace setters a little bit. And Max Swagger, Shankar, a horse that's lightly raced and still has some upside, is able to power it off at the end. He's still learning, but he might get the right race flow in this spot.
Yeah, maybe he does. He's lightly raced enough that you don't want to be too hard on him, and he actually earned a competitive figure winning that race. To me, it's just an effort that's hard to get behind as they step him up out of the maiden ranks now, Dan. I mean, he got the job done there, as you saw, but it's a bunched up finish behind him with a bunch of horses in a tight pack. The runner-up was a first-time starter. He was over 40-1. The third place finisher was a first-time starter. He was almost 10-1. I kind of feel like he beat a bad field there.
Completing the field is the number 10, Elusive Empire, making his first start off the Jose D'Angelo claim and making his first start on turf and first start routing. Here's his maiden win for $25,000 last time out in a 5.5 furlong race on the Tapeta. He settled in behind the speeds, and he's just going to get the run of the rails.
Gets a great trip in this race. Going to come up the inside and get the job done. Listen, he obviously has to improve quite a bit. He's got to do it as he stretches out. He's got to do it switching surfaces. He's got to do it from the far outside post. A lot of obstacles for him, Dan, and he just doesn't really have any turf pedigree at all that I could find. I don't see why he's going to be better on this surface. Irad takes them out. I guess that is of some interest, but I'm not betting it because of the rider.
12-1 on the morning line, but as Mike says, is really going to have to work out a trip from that far outside post, trying 2 turns in turf for the first time. Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for our Wednesday race of the day. Mike and I agree in here. People Force, I think, is slowly improving. I think he's versatile enough to work out his own trip. He earned a solid figure last time out for a very good and underrated trainer. And I'm hoping, just hoping, we can get something close to the morning line.
I have nothing to add to that. I like all 3 of his turf starts. I think he can get the right trip in this race. He's a very fair price on the morning line. I think there's a lot to like here.
Mike's going 3, 1, 5, and 7. I'm going 3, 2, 5, and 1 with the Wednesday DRF race of the day. Best of luck.